Welcome, dear friends, to Wood Art Tube, and thank you for stepping quietly into this gentle story I call From Scrap to Soul. A journey that begins not with perfection but with fragments, with forgotten corners of the workshop where small pieces of wood wait silently for a second chance. And as someone who has spent more than 30 years shaping timber into objects that travel into people's lives, I want to invite you to slow down with me and watch how even the smallest scrap can become a gift filled with meaning. Because in this craft, the most powerful creations often come from what others would throw away. In the early years of my career, I was obsessed with large planks, flawless boards, and grand designs, and I swept the floor at the end of each day without a second thought. But time taught me to look again, to notice the offcuts with beautiful grain, the broken edges that whispered stories, the thin strips that carried color and memory, and one evening, tired and curious, I picked up a handful of scraps and began shaping them into a tiny heart-shaped ornament, sanding slowly, listening to the soft rhythm of the paper against the wood. And when I finished, I realized something extraordinary had happened, that this small, imperfect piece carried more emotion than many of my finest tables, because it was born from patience, from rescue, from the belief that nothing truly meaningful is ever waste. This is where the soul of woodcraft lies, in the quiet transformation of what seems worthless into something that holds love, intention, and memory. And when you create gifts this way, you are not just making objects. You are telling a story about second chances, about care, about the beauty hidden in overlooked places. As the camera follows my hands today, shaping, sanding, oiling, fitting small fragments together into a simple frame, a small sculpture, a pendant, or a keepsake box, I want you to notice not the speed but the breathing, not the result but the process, because in slow crafting something deeper happens. Your thoughts soften, your movements become gentle, and the wood begins to guide you. And this calm, this presence, becomes part of the gift itself. Over the years, I have given many of these scrap-made pieces to friends, to couples starting new lives, to children leaving home, to customers who wanted something personal. And again, I heard the same words, that these small objects felt special, that they felt alive, that they felt as if someone had poured time and heart into them, and they were right, because time is the greatest ingredient in any meaningful gift. When you take what is left behind and shape it with care, you send a quiet message to the person who receives it, a message that says, "You matter enough for me to slow down, to choose, to shape, to finish." And this message stays long after the wrapping paper is gone. For beginners dreaming of turning woodcraft into a business, this path holds gentle wisdom, because scraps are free teachers. They let you practice without fear. They invite experimentation. They teach you to see potential instead of limits, and they open doors to affordable, sustainable creations that people deeply value. And I have seen many young makers build their first collections entirely from leftovers, selling small gifts that traveled far beyond their workshops, carrying stories of renewal and care. In a world that moves fast and throws away too much, these small wooden gifts become quiet acts of resistance, reminders that beauty does not need to be expensive, that art does not need to be loud, and that love can live inside the simplest form. As the final piece today receives its last coat of oil and the grain comes alive in warm light, I hope you feel what I feel every time I finish a scrap project: a soft gratitude, a sense that nothing we touch is ever truly small, and that even broken beginnings can lead to something that belongs in someone's hands, on someone's shelf, inside someone's story. If you are enjoying this peaceful journey, if watching scraps become soul has brought you calm or inspiration, I invite you to gently like this video, share it with your family and friends who love handmade beauty, and leave a comment telling us what you would create from leftover wood, because your voice helps this little community grow and helps us continue sharing the quiet magic of craft here on Wow Decor Tube. And now, as we come to the end of this slow story, I want to thank you for staying with me, for honoring patience, for believing in second chances, and for seeing beauty where others might not. And until our next video, May your workshop be filled with light, your hands filled with courage, and your heart always open to the soul hidden inside every scrap of wood.